I am very certain that I will be that kind of man. Single and with no children. I want to know what the daily routine is like for that kind of life. Story 1. Less than you would think. Living on your own is expensive, and having nobody to share chores with is difficult. That said, nobody minds if I skip chores to do something fun. Story 2. I work 40 hours a week, Monday to Friday. Every second weekend, I try to intentionally do nothing, also known as solo activities. These include gaming, reading, watching movies and shows, hiking or walking, and driving. Story 3. 40-hour per week job, work as much or as little overtime as I like. Up before the sun for a run or to read for a few hours before work. New and old hobbies after work. Television, video games, woodworking, gem cutting, crochet. Weekends start as early or as late as I want. Fishing, hiking, community service. Full 8 hours of sleep every day. Took a few years, but I have to say, 30s are feeling like the sweet spot of energy, time, and money. Story 4. I run 5 to 7 days a week. I lift weights 5 to 7 days a week. I go hiking every other weekend. I have 4 motorcycles that I ride through the mountains. I go target shooting in the desert. I visit one of the many museums in Arizona at least once a month. I visit art galleries. I buy last-minute Diamondbacks tickets on Friday nights and get a cheap ticket behind home plate on the upper level, then go to a restaurant downtown. I float around in the pool during the super hot months. I go on at least 2 trips a year. I am going on a solo beach vacation in a week. Story 5. I am in my mid-30s and act like I am 21. I bike to bars to go dancing, go to raves, snowboarding, hiking, and more. It is a lot of fun, honestly. Story 6. This is my day off. This morning I slept in. At noon, I went to Costco for a $1.50 hot dog and soda. The person working the food counter had a name that reminded me of Captain Planet, and we connected on that for a bit. Right now, I am sitting by my new favorite place. It is a picnic area overlooking a pond with people fishing. Once I post this, I am going to do most of the following. Watch Captain Planet clips on YouTube. Get the guitar out of my trunk and jam out. Up. Read. Meditate. These are all things I would love to share with little ones, but I do not know if I could handle the responsibility and stress. I am also scared for the future of our youth. Either it has gotten worse than the years I had growing up, or the ubiquity of information sharing has made the flaws in our society more inherent. Story 7. Play a handful of video games in rotation. Tinker with guns, launchers, and related equipment. Shoot once or twice a month. Occasionally meet up with friends across the state. I think about trying to date now and then, but I am not sure it is worth the headache to try this late in life with no experience. Story 8. I am 48. Other than having to walk the dog and go to work, I do not have to do anything else. I am told I live the pirate life. I sleep when I am tired, and I eat when I am hungry. I decorate any way I wish, and when I want a new car, there is no debate and no need to look at a vehicle to transport my child to soccer practice. Story 9. I work, go to the gym, read, play video games, watch my favorite shows, hang out with friends, and spend time on hobbies I enjoy at the moment. It's a peaceful life. I am not interested in dating right now. Also, having children does not appeal to me. Story 10. My popcorn is ready. I am going to live vicariously with these answers while I tell the kids to quiet down. Story 11. Between work and commute, I spend 50 hours a week. Then I have to make dinner, shower, and clean up after myself. I also manage a men's softball team seasonally, have gotten into miniature wargaming as a hobby, meeting up nearly every weekend to play. I also meet friends online for Dungeons and Dragons or gaming. I am currently in the middle of writing a novel. Any time left, I spend wishing that my relationships had actually worked out because it feels like I am just filling time before it all runs out. Story 12. I am 29, but I do not see anything changing before I am 30 in a few months. I just do whatever I want. I go on bike rides for cardio, go to the gym whenever I feel like it, play with my cats, and play Dungeons and Dragons with friends. It is a decent life. Story 13. I discovered that there is about 6 feet of space between the back of the front seat all the way forward to the back door in my Crosstrek, and I am 5 feet 10 inches tall. I have always been a very nature-focused individual, but my dog is not a great backpacking companion because he does not settle easily in a tent at night. However, he sleeps in the back of the car with me just fine, which is unusual. We go on a lot of road trips together to mountainous regions where we car camp and take really beautiful day hikes. We just returned from a long 10-day tour of the Catskills, Adirondacks, Green Mountains, and White Mountains. My weekends are mostly filled with hiking with my dog in my local area and whitewater paddling, which is my #1 hobby. Being single and having no children is made infinitely better with a dog, especially a big, old, needy lover like my German Shepherd dog. The best thing is when you realize there is no shame in being a bum and staying in when you want. I make big plans for myself all the time and then don't follow through at the last minute because I woke up groggy or something. There is no shame. I just do whatever I want, even if I decide to do absolutely nothing. I would not be single if I met someone worth it, but I also really like being single. Story 14. I have recently decided that I am most likely going to be child-free by choice. Dating in our 30s is quite entertaining but difficult as a man who is child-free. Outside of work, I go to the gym, have dinner or food with friends, run with a running group 2 to 3 times a week, work on my side business photography, go to concerts, travel, and do typical house and chores work. Story 15. I'm a truck driver not by choice, but by necessity. I have no free time. I work more than half the day. When I am not working, I am getting what sleep I can. In the off chance that I am doing none of the above, I stare off into space as I ponder the life choices that brought me to where I am. I used to fly aircraft. I used to ride motorcycles through winding country roads. I had a nearly finished book manuscript I gave up on in despair. I am not childless by choice. Through my choices, I simply am. I am not loving life. I persist because I overcame my wish to die long ago. Story 16. I use drugs and alcohol because I am sad that I do not have a partner or children. When I am not working, of course. Story 17. I do exactly what I want when I want, and that is all I need. I was in relationships and married from the ages of 21 to 32. And at 36, I am content being single. I am in a self-centered, no-compromise era. Story 18. 7 hours free on weekdays. I read, play games, work out, go to the beach or river, visit bars, watch movies, and so on. The freedom is nice, but sometimes you end up drinking too much. Story 19. I am recently separated and we have no children. I work long hours, but even with that, I have a decent amount of free time. I usually spend it reading. Story 20. I have all the time in the world to do everything I enjoy. Travel solo, go on hikes, ride my bicycle, date whoever I want, and go to concerts. Story 21. Outside of work, my time is divided between chores, commuting, gaming, sports, and meeting friends or doing activities. Subtracting chores and commuting on workdays, I have roughly 4 to 5 free hours per day for myself. Story 22. Gym, work, video games, and chilling with friends. I enjoy my alone time. I am extremely strict with my workout routines. They keep me busy, and I like sleeping on time, so it is good for me. Story 23. Work, fish, play games, enjoy my hobbies, and spoil my nieces and nephews. I have no desire to have a family outside of my immediate one. Watching my family have their own children just reaffirms that idea. I am not against having kids, but it is not for me. I enjoy my time and would like to keep it that way. Story 24. Whenever I am not working, I usually put on a YouTube video while scrolling or playing on my phone. Alternatively, I play video games. Story 25. I am a 33-year-old male. I feel like I have devoted my life to my job. I am so tired most days that I do not even get around to playing PlayStation 5. I just wake up, work, go home, do chores, sleep, and repeat. Story 26. 1 to 5 hours weekly. Weekends are usually free. During the work week, I might read, paint, draw, play video games, or watch streaming shows and movies. Sometimes I combine these activities. On weekends, I tend to do all of the above, plus laundry and grocery shopping for the next week. This weekend is free role-playing game day, and there is a toy and nerd convention I plan to check out tomorrow. I have few limits as long as bills are paid and life chores are done. I might also watch the movie 28 Years Later, which I believe was released today. Story 27. Work from home 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Monday to Friday. After work. Monday, band practice. Tuesday, gaming, hobbies, or watching series. Wednesday, gaming, hobbies, or watching series. Thursday, gaming, hobbies, or watching series. Friday, gaming, hobbies, or watching series. Maybe go out with friends. Saturday, gaming, hobbies, or watching series. Maybe hang out with friends. Sunday, gaming, hobbies, or watching series. Maybe visit my parents or brothers. Maybe meal prep. My girlfriend also works from home. In conclusion, there is lots of free time, sometimes wasted by scrolling on social media or watching unproductive videos. Story 28. I was over 30 and single. Not anymore, but sometimes I miss it along with the routine and simplicity. I would work, get home, work out, walk my dog, make some dinner, and watch an episode of whatever show I was into at the time. Then I would play my guitar, relax in my hot tub, shower, and go to bed. I was in a local church small group and played beer league volleyball 2 weeknights for fun and socialization. On weekends, I would get a beer and hang out with friends. It was a really nice lifestyle and easy for me to stay healthy since I had total control over my free time and diet. Story 29. 3 to 4 hours after work each day. On days off, I have the whole day to do what I want. Errands, wash clothes, cook dinner, nap, or whatever I choose. Everyone I work with has children, so I already know I do not want to be the person having sleepless nights, having to go home early because someone is sick, missing out on pay, or getting sick myself. I am free to do whatever I want or need on my own time. Story 30. I go out dancing, such as salsa clubs, about 3 times a week. This weekend, there is a big local 4-day event where people come from all over the country and world, with professional instructors and dancing until sunrise. I go to the gym 2 to 3 times a week and take my dog hiking on the weekend when the weather is nice. I go with friends to pub trivia or board games every week or two. I make many friends through dancing, so there is always something going on, like birthday dinners, camping trips, concerts, and more. It is honestly a lot. Sometimes, I have 4 events in a row on a weekend and I am out all day. Story 31. Gym, hiking clubs, part of a trail running club. Indoor and outdoor climbing, traditional climbing for outside. House cleaning, chores, and getting my house in order. Piano on the side, not as much anymore. When I feel like it, I paint. Obviously, I have work and I travel to London and other areas around the world, but I include a few big solo trips in the mix. I have more than enough time to relax and understand more about my wants and needs in life. Story 32. All of my time outside of work is free time. I play trading card games with friends, walk around the city trying new things, watch new movies, I am a big movie person, and more. Story 33. I am 46 years old and have a fair amount of free time. I do a lot of trail running, my main hobby, sometimes running more than 100 miles per week. Other than that, I do whatever I feel like. I hope to retire within 9 years or less. Story 34. I didn't meet my now wife until I was 36, married shortly before my 39th birthday. My life before that was whatever I wanted it to be. When I first got out of college, I'd get home from work, watch a couple of hours of Law and Order or crime scene investigation reruns, play Xbox for an hour or two, and go to bed. Or spend a couple of hours washing and detailing my pickup, take the kayak to the lake, and so on. I was 26 when I bought my house, and for the next couple of years, pretty much all of my time was working on the house, painting, remodeling the basement, getting the yard cleaned up and into shape. I got pretty active in the community. At one point, I was on the Pheasants Forever board, the City Park board, the Men's Club, which is kind of a local version of Kiwanis, on a couple of boards at my church, sang in a barbershop chorus, and 2 community choirs. I got into geocaching when it was still relatively young. I would jump in my car on a Saturday, search for the nearest unfound cache, then the next nearest, and then the next nearest. When it got close to supper time, I turn around and head for home. Just whatever you feel like doing. Story 35. It depends on the day and who is available. I have quite a bit of free time most weekends and any time outside of work, usually from 5 p.m. to midnight on weekdays. Obviously, I still have to do chores. I work from home, so I do some during work hours and some afterward. I try to get together with one or more friends once or twice a week in person. This could be for dinner, drinks, a movie, a show, games, going out dancing, laser tag, or many other activities we enjoy. It does not always happen, as schedules sometimes get in the way, but grabbing dinner usually happens once a week. I normally spend a couple of nights a week talking and gaming on Discord. I also spend a night or two doing my own thing, which may be gaming, catching up on my personal TV or movie list, reading a book, or working on a house project that needs attention. I have a friend who lives out of state, so I try to visit her once or twice a month on the weekend. If we have a group event or other activity near me, she comes here instead. I also have a Dungeons and Dragons group. Scheduling is tough, but we aim for once a month. Sometimes, when life is busy, we miss a month. That covers most of the weekly and monthly activities. My main group has also been prioritizing doing more fun things. I have already been to one concert this year with 2 more planned, plus 2 comedy shows and a nerd dance night. We also have occasional house parties when we can gather enough people. They are normally small, about 6 people, but sometimes larger, like 15 to 20, if we bring in multiple groups. Story 36. Almost none, as I work all week and then have housework to do outside of work. I do correlated activities such as club drives, shows, and meets when I am not working or otherwise engaged. I would love to have other hobbies to keep me entertained, but I am not social enough for that. Story 37. Yeah, it is pretty great. It can be lonely at times, but it is nice to do whatever I want without having to check in. I can stay up late drinking beer and playing video games, or I can go on an impromptu 3-day weekend out in the country. I can go see some comedy shows and not have to worry about my girlfriend getting offended or having angry quiet fights while driving home. It is easy to achieve some serenity. Story 38. All the free time, and I also work 24 hours on, 48 hours off. I grill out with my friends, go camping, attend concerts, and generally do anything I want. There are moments when I see a younger family, and I think to myself, that would be awesome. But then the child has a meltdown, and it brings me right back. To each their own. Story 39. How much free time? A lot. My job is fully remote and 40 hours per week. So outside of 6 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on weekdays, I am free. I rent an apartment, so I do not deal with any home maintenance. My only real chores are cleaning, laundry, and cooking. What do I do for fun? In winter, I ski as much as possible. That is the reason I moved here. In warmer months, I do a lot of hiking. I am in a long-distance relationship with someone on the East Coast, so I will visit her for an extended period in July when the weather is unpleasant here. When the weather is nicer, she is more likely to visit me. Utah is a lot nicer than Connecticut in the winter. One thing I spend a lot of time on is making new friends. I got divorced in my mid-30s and moved across the country, so I had no social network in a new city. Fortunately, outdoor activities are a great way to meet people, but making close friendships at this age is harder. I also spend a good amount of time cooking and meal prepping. Cleaning up my diet has helped me lose a decent amount of weight, and I try to avoid spending too much money on eating out or takeout unless it is for a social reason. I work in information technology and live in fear of age discrimination and becoming obsolete. I hope to be able to semi-retire within the next decade. Story 40. 40 years old here. In a 20-year relationship. 15-minute commute to an extremely well-paying job. I build many projects, including drones, remote-operated vehicles, kayaking, and fishing. I attend festivals and enjoy various experiences. I own a house with everything I have ever wanted, including a workshop and a greenhouse. I have 2 dogs. I do whatever I want, including holidays and parties. My life seems too easy. Story 41. I work out 7 days a week. I sleep as much as I want. I eat healthy. I do what I want. I flirt with multiple women often. I have all the money for myself. There is no downside to being single these days. This life chose me. I wanted a family, but I have not met her yet. Story 42. At 33, my only obligation is work, and it's great. My free time is spent doing what I've always done. Mostly gaming, hanging out with friends who are not married, watching sports, racing, and working on my car. I had a rough childhood, so I have never been interested in starting a family of my own, and I do not see that changing anytime soon. Story 43. I have about 6 hours free per day. I play video games, read, and sometimes I spend 2 or 3 hours making stew or chili just the way I like. On weekends, I sometimes go to thrift shops and yard sales to look for interesting items. I used to do Warhammer miniatures, but I lost interest. Overall, I think I need more hobbies. Story 44. When I was 30 and single with no children, I worked, rode my bike a lot, dated frequently, and played in a band. There are occasional days when that still sounds pretty amazing. Story 45. Technically, every hour not spent in bed or at work is free time. I generally socialize with my other childless friends, engage in my hobbies, or just relax on the couch. Story 46. 34-year-old male here. Besides work, no obligations. I flirt with women, try to establish a routine at the gym, play video games, save money, hook up, and hang out with other single friends. I am actively dating for a serious relationship but do not want to get married or have children. If I were to meet her, it would include all of the above plus adventures together. Story 47. A lot, but it varies as it should. A good amount of alone time, hanging out with friends, improved health and wellness. Traveling and saving, doing better in all areas. Story 48. Copious amounts of free time and the money to do what I want when I want. Just no one to share it all with, and that is a real bummer. Story 49. 40 minutes. Attend shows, go to ball games, play in a basketball league, usually a bowling league in the summer, and sometimes alternate with indoor soccer or softball. Go on dates. Golf on weekends usually, or go on a weekend getaway to visit my nieces and nephews, some friends, or to attend shows, games, or to golf. Game nights, dinner parties, and events I am invited to. Work functions sometimes, but rarely. Meet a friend for dinner. Take a few mushrooms and go embarrass myself on a dance floor somewhere. The usual. Story 50. I do anything I want as I work from home and make a good salary as a software developer. I travel the country and the world all the time. I have 2 dogs and we have a blast doing whatever we feel like that day. I have many hobbies, so I keep myself busy. If I decide to stay at home for a while, it is usually work, gym, and whatever I feel like. I am pretty spontaneous. I enjoy gaming with friends and even bring my gaming laptop if I am gone for a long time. Story 51. Outside of work, all my time is effectively free time. If you want the numbers, it is about 4 to 5 hours of free time a day on work days and easily 12 or so hours of free time on weekends or days off. For fun, I play video games, read, watch shows, garden, cook, sometimes write and paint miniatures. Story 52. Right now, I work the night shift from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. After work, I go to the gym for about 2 hours. Then, I go home and prepare my things for tomorrow. I usually browse my phone, which is my bad habit. On weekends, I try to schedule activities like hiking or treating my parents. Story 53. Over half of my friends are in this category, and from what I have seen, except for a few who have personal struggles, the rest are enjoying their lives and doing as they please. Myself included, I love the freedom. I am hitting another country next year with my friends. Story 54. To be honest, not enough. The only time I feel I have enough free time is when I am on vacation from work. I am really hoping to win the lottery, so I can dedicate all my time to mountain biking, skiing, and other fun activities. Working and chores take way too much time. Story 55. Work for 8 hours, including about an hour of driving both ways. Everything else is whatever I want. No girlfriend asking me to donate my time to help her friends move or fix problems that aren't mine. I watch movies, read books, and play games. I hang out with my nephews at the theater. Sometimes, I take a 1 to 2 hour nap when I get home and don't have a girl getting upset about it for no reason. She will be on her phone anyway. Story 56. I have little to no free time. Although I am single and have no children, I am currently taking care of my brother who has special needs and my disabled mother. Story 57. It is fun being able to work on your car all day without any distractions. There is a sense of freedom which in turn boosts your confidence. Being a bachelor has its perks and you can always go out and talk to women. The only downside to staying single is waking up and going to bed feeling lonely. Story 58. I have 2 friends in my group who are over 30, single, and have no children. They are always up for some kind of adventure and often join spontaneously. One lives 8 hours away and earlier this week asked in our group if anyone was going to an event nearby. One friend said yes, and he replied, "Sweet, I think I will come too." The other friend recently bought a dirt bike because he had always wanted one. They are just going through life doing whatever they want, whenever they want. Story 59. I have all the time in the world because I also retired early. Some days I sit in front of the computer all day. Some days I spend all day in the garage with my hobbies. Sometimes I go down to the garage at 4 a.m. to do something, then go to sleep at 10 a.m. and wake up whenever. My goal, however, is to finally get moving and start traveling the world more. I don't know why, but I am so hesitant to do it. Story 60. Thinking if I should get that car I used to love back in high school. How much bend do I need for my bike's handlebar? 5 degrees or 7 degrees? What country should I visit next? Do I need to walk the dog soon? Do I need a new lens for my camera? Story 61. Not as much as I would like. That is the problem with other people thinking you have free time. My phone rings a lot, usually because of everyone that person knows. They assume I have the time to spend on them. Story 62. Recently learned urban inline skating, jiu-jitsu, guitar lessons, opening a side business, exercise, travel, video games, family, and friends. I have a girlfriend who joins me on the skates. Usually, I skate at least 1 full day a week, sometimes 2. Nights are always free after work. Story 63. I have plenty of time. I have adult content on the televisions and I take it easy. Some days I just relax, get a coffee, and that is it. Story 64. I make music. I draw. I play video games. I go to many shows. I run. I read. There is so much to do. It is wonderful. Story 65. As others have said, whatever you want. I am 43 years old. I am learning to paint, cook better meals, and try to avoid debt. Pretty typical, I would say. Story 66. I have found that my single friends become increasingly self-centered as they get older. I honestly do not think it is good for most men to remain untethered their entire lives. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.